The apostles of Jesus Christ played pivotal roles in spreading the gospel and shaping early Christianity. Each of them faced unique challenges, accomplished remarkable feats, and in many cases faced tragic but inspiring martyrdom. In this video, we explore the story and legacy of these men who dedicated their lives to following and sharing the teachings of Christ, even in the face of the most difficult adversities. The 12 disciples of Jesus Christ were men from simple backgrounds, such as fishermen, peasants, and artisans who left their former lives behind to follow the Master. They witnessed the resurrection of Jesus and were given the mission to take his message to the world. However, this task was far from easy. They faced intense persecution and paid a high price for their faith, many sacrificing their lives. None of these deaths occurred naturally. Each reflects a remarkable episode of dedication and human brutality. If you think the end of these men was ordinary, the reality is quite different. Their stories are full of mysteries, historical debates, and shocking stories. Let's explore these details based on biblical records, church traditions, and historical accounts. John, for example, is a prominent and quite intriguing figure. Son of Zebedee and Salome, and brother of another disciple, James, he maintained a unique relationship with Jesus, being called the beloved disciple. This unique bond allowed John privileged access to the teachings and events of Jesus' life. He was present at essential moments, such as the Transfiguration and the Last Supper, where he was close to the Master. After the crucifixion of Jesus, John played a significant role in the Christian community in Jerusalem. He witnessed the ascension of Christ and helped to consolidate the faith among the first followers. However, his fate is surrounded by tradition and symbolism. According to reports, John suffered severe persecution, especially under Emperor Domitian, due to his preaching of the gospel in Ephesus. One of the best-known stories suggests that he was captured, tortured, and thrown into a cauldron of boiling oil. However, he emerged unharmed, something interpreted as a miracle. After this episode, he was exiled to the island of Patmos, a place used as a prison by the empire. It is important to note that there is no direct biblical basis for the claim that John was subjected to this type of torture before being taken to Patmos. These details come from tradition, especially from the writings of the so-called Church Fathers, who have contributed to Christian theology over the centuries. During his exile on Patmos, John is said to have received visions that form the content of the book of Revelation. These revelations are seen as a reflection of his spiritual connection and his understanding of the future. Regarding his death, tradition holds that he was the only one of the disciples to die of natural causes, despite several attempts to execute him. This information was recorded by figures such as Bishop Polycrates of Ephesus and Eusebius of Caesarea. According to historical records, John is said to have died in Ephesus in Asia Minor around the year 100 AD at the age of about 94. There are reports that when his tomb was opened by Constantine, it was empty. James, son of Zebedee, brother of John, was a central figure among Jesus' followers. He was present at important events, such as the Transfiguration, the resurrection of Jairus' daughter, and the agony in Gethsemane. His closeness to John and Jesus placed him in a prominent position in the group, forming, along with Peter and John, Jesus' closest circle. These three were witnesses to unique and revealing episodes, reflecting the trust that was given to them. After Jesus' crucifixion, James met a tragic end, as reported in the book of Acts. Under the orders of Herod Agrippa, he was executed by sword, becoming the first of the disciples to suffer martyrdom. Although the biblical text does not detail the exact method, tradition indicates that he was beheaded or pierced. In the scriptures, there is another disciple named James, identified as the son of Alphaeus. However, he has a discrete participation in the Gospels with less information about his life and actions after Jesus' death. Accounts suggest that he was involved in preaching the gospel, possibly on specific missions. Regarding his end, sources differ. Some mention that he was beheaded on Herod's orders, while others indicate that he was thrown from the temple in Jerusalem and stoned to death. Peter, also known as Simon, was born in Bethsaida, Galilee, and was a fisherman before being called by Jesus. His name, which means rock, symbolized his solid faith and his leadership among the disciples. He witnessed iconic moments such as walking on water and was the first to recognize Jesus as the Messiah. Impulsive and fervent, Peter had his faith tested during Jesus' arrest, when he denied him, but was restored after the resurrection. After that, he traveled through various regions of the Roman Empire to preach the gospel, later settling in Rome, where he led the Christian community. In the year 64 AD, a devastating fire in Rome triggered events that would mark the destiny of Peter and other Christians. After the fire that devastated Rome in the year 64 AD, Emperor Nero held the Christians responsible for what happened, initiating a violent persecution. Among those who suffered the consequences, Peter was captured and sentenced to death. According to tradition, he asked to be crucified upside down, claiming he was not worthy of dying in the same way as Jesus. His execution took place on Vatican Hill, where St. Peter's Basilica is now located. His death was a testament to his faith and dedication, and was a milestone in the spread of Christianity throughout the world. Another apostle attributed to this period was Judas Thaddeus, also known as Lebbeus, or Judas, son of James. Although his presence in the Gospels is discreet, he played a significant role in spreading the Christian message, especially in regions such as Mesopotamia and Persia. His epistle exhorts Christians to maintain faith and brotherly love. As for his end, traditions differ. Some suggest that he was martyred by stoning, while others report that he died by axe blows. His death is considered an act of fidelity to his mission. Andrew, Peter's brother, stood out from the beginning of Jesus' ministry. He participated in important moments, such as the multiplication of the loaves and fishes, and is mentioned among the first in the list of disciples. After the resurrection, he dedicated himself to preaching, traveling to regions such as Greece and Scotland, where he is credited with founding the Church of Constantinople. Andrew was reportedly martyred in Patras, Greece, by being crucified on an X-shaped cross, which became known as the Cross of St. Andrew. This request reflected his belief that he was not worthy of dying in a Christ-like manner. Philip, originally from Bethsaida, also responded to Jesus' call, standing out for his shared origins with Peter and Andrew. Philip is remembered for his participation in significant events in the biblical narrative. In one remarkable episode, Jesus questions Philip about how to feed a large crowd, challenging his faith. Philip responds with a human calculation, mentioning that not even 200 denarii worth of bread would be enough. However, Jesus performs the miracle of multiplying the loaves and fishes, feeding thousands of people and leaving enough leftovers to fill 12 baskets. After Jesus' resurrection, Philip continued his mission, working in regions such as Samaria, where he performed miracles and baptized many in the name of Christ. Information about his death is based on traditions. Reports suggest that Philip was crucified and stoned in Hierapolis in Asia Minor, around the year 80 AD, during persecutions promoted by Emperor Domitian. Simon, known as the Zealot, carries in his title the possibility of association with the political religious group of the Zealots, known for their dedication to the independence of Israel. This designation suggests a past of nationalist fervor before being called by Jesus. Regarding his death, traditional accounts indicate that Simon was brutally tortured, flayed, and cut in half during the persecution of Christians under Emperor Trajan. Bartholomew, introduced to Jesus by Philip, is described as someone of integrity and without deceit. After Jesus' death, Bartholomew undertook missionary journeys, preaching the gospel in various regions, including India. His success in converting people to Christianity drew the ire of local authorities. Tradition tells different versions of his death. One version claims that he was beheaded. Another, more widespread in the Orthodox tradition, describes that Bartholomew was flayed alive and then crucified upside down for refusing to renounce his faith. Matthew, formerly called Levi, was a tax collector in Capernaum before following Jesus. His profession, often despised by society, gave way to a new life of service to Christianity. Matthew left a lasting legacy by recording his testimony in the gospel that bears his name, essential to the composition of the New Testament. Matthew continued preaching the gospel after Jesus' ascension, traveling to diverse regions such as Ethiopia and Persia. Regarding his death, the most widespread narrative states that Matthew was martyred in Nadab, Ethiopia, while celebrating Mass. He was killed by the sword, ending his life as a testimony of his faith. Thomas, also called Didymus or the Twin, stands out in the Gospels for his sincerity and his hesitation in accepting extraordinary events. His skepticism is evident after the resurrection of Jesus, when he declared that he would only believe if he touched the Master's wounds. The encounter with Jesus, in which he was invited to touch the marks of the crucifixion, led Thomas to a transformative confession of faith. According to tradition, he carried out evangelistic missions in India, where he was martyred by spears in the Chennai region. Judas Iscariot is remembered as the apostle who betrayed Jesus to the religious authorities. A native of Kerioth, little is known about his life before joining the group of disciples. During the Last Supper, Judas made the decision that would change the course of history, betraying Jesus in exchange for 30 pieces of silver. He identified Jesus to the soldiers with a kiss, signaling who should be arrested. The reasons for his betrayal remain unclear, ranging from personal disillusionment to external influences. After realizing the gravity of his act, Judas tried to return the money he had received and, overcome by remorse, ended up taking his own life in a field later called the Field of Blood. Its description contains text that appears to combine a detailed narrative about Judas Iscariot with elements of a typical ending to online video content. Here is a rewording of the Judas Iscariot excerpt, excluding the references to a video. The Field of Blood, as it became known, was originally a vacant lot designated for the burial of foreigners and criminals. This plot of land was purchased by the religious leaders with the coins returned by Judas Iscariot, and was specifically intended to bury foreigners who had died in the city. The name Field of Blood evokes both the blood of Jesus, shed as part of the betrayal, and the tragic outcome of Judas's life. Judas's death is described in two New Testament narratives, the Gospel of Matthew and the Acts of the Apostles. Both converge on an ending marked by regret and tragedy. In the Gospel of Matthew 27:3-5, Judas, overcome with remorse after betraying Jesus, tries to return the 30 pieces of silver to the religious leaders. When he is refused, he throws the coins in the temple, goes out and hangs himself. In the Acts of the Apostles, 1:18-19, it is said that Judas met a different end. After his betrayal during a fall, his body ruptured and his entrails spilled out. Despite these differences, both passages highlight Judas's deep remorse and despair, offering a solemn reminder of the consequences of betrayal and the lack of reconciliation with hope and forgiveness. The story of the apostles is marked by courage, faith, and dedication to Jesus' calling. Even facing persecution, torture, and in some cases violent deaths, these men remained steadfast in their mission to bring the message of love and salvation to the world. Their acts of bravery continue to inspire millions of people, showing that faith can overcome any obstacle. Judas Iscariot, although his journey ended in regret and tragedy, also teaches us about the consequences of human choice and the importance of repentance accompanied by hope and the search for divine forgiveness. The stories of all the apostles reinforce that each of us, with our strengths and weaknesses, can find a greater purpose in our spiritual journey. Did you like this content? Subscribe to the channel, leave a like, and activate notifications so you don't miss the next videos. We have many inspiring stories waiting for you. May God bless you all and see you next time.